game of the week action coming in D2 playoffs. We just mentioned a little bit about it. We've got number 3 seed Bowling Green taking on the 5 seed Central Catholic. You look at the record for Central, and it doesn't really reflect, I think, what we think the talent of this squad is, right? We talked about that tough Catholic high school league record, 0-9 in there. But to take it outside of there, right, they've got 8 wins outside, only 5 losses. I think this is a really tough team that is, we've mentioned all season, they're young, they're learning, they're kind of getting their stride. And I think a time that you don't want to find the team that's young and getting their stride is right now in the playoffs. And it's a little worrisome, I think, if you're BG.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting matchup just because the youth of Central Catholic and then that 0-9 record in the league play. Does that just hang in your head in postseason play? Can Coach Floyd flip the switch and convince them and brainwash them to say, hey, flush those 9 losses down the toilet. It's a fresh start, 0-0. Let's roll the ball out there and let's get going and show teams what we can do. So that is the key crux of this game of the week here on Friday night on March 1st. This is a test. I've talked about Bowling Green a number of times. They've challenged some of the Buckeye Division teams, them being a Cardinal Division team, and they've had close games. They've kind of steadily progressed and made some definitive progress and not just playing teams, but competing against teams, occasionally surprising teams, and they're going to be tested right off the get-go here on Friday, March 1st.
Yeah, you talked about playing really well against some Buckeye Division teams. They had a really close battle with Whitmer not too long ago, so hopefully those are some things that can keep them confident heading into this playoff run. What are your thoughts on this big game matchup?
You know, obviously Ruffin is one of the special players out here in Northwest Ohio. You know, I think
big fan.
You know, I'm a huge fan of that kid. I mean, I got to call a game of them earlier this season, and he really stood out, although they didn't beat Napoleon that time at Napoleon. He really stood out just athletically, just being able to get up and down the court. Kind of remind me a little bit of Javante Hill, you know, honestly, just with the athleticism. But then you look over at Central Catholic side, look at Isaiah Brenneman, you know, where he benefited from the past few years of having a lot of veteran players around him, where, you know, he kind of was, you know, like the 4th best player on the court. And he was all league last year. He was all district player, you know, and this year he didn't get any of those awards. Now, because he's the guy playing in that tougher league, you wonder if now he can translate this game, his skill set back to the public school realm, where he can now take on some of these guys that are a little bit lesser point guards, where he's not going to get double, triple teamed. Right. And he's got Mac, he's got Wardrop. Those guys are going to be important. But I think this is about Isaiah Brenneman stepping up and being the leader of this team to help them get through Bowling Green.
I think him being able to step into, if he can step into that leadership role and take some of the pressure off a guy like Isaiah Mack Russell, who we've talked about this freshman class in the area being as good, if not one of the best we've had in years and years and years. And Isaiah Mack Russell has been exactly that. Kid's 6'5" already, 16.1 points per game for him this season. And if that can, you know, ease some of the pressure from that leadership from, you know, Brenneman, does that let him play a little more loose and free? I want to see if Isaiah Mack Russell and Amir Ruffin are two that are going at it this Friday. That matchup would be a lot of fun, I think. 2 really good, long, athletic athletes. Ruffin, you mentioned him. He was 3rd in the Cardinal in scoring this season at 16.5 points per game. You look at common opponents for these 2 teams, right? Both of them have lost to St. Francis. You talk about Perrysburg. They both played. Central able to beat Perrysburg early in the season. Bowling Green losing to Perrysburg. Same thing with Anthony Wayne. Central beating A-Dub. BG losing to A-Dub. Also close matchups there. So we'd like to see how they've matched up against similar teams. Should be a really good one, a top 5 matchup in the playoffs